Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming back. Look at us, 3 weeks in. Yeah, thank you so much for coming back, and I hope that you're enjoying the content so far. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying it. So let's just dig into this week. So as you can tell from the title, I'm talking about something not very 6 tips to or something like that. It's a lot more personal, way more personal than I was planning on getting, at least so soon anyway. Like, I didn't really think that this would be a topic, let alone the topic that my 3rd video would be on. But as a matter of fact, I actually had a property series lined up, which is coming next week. So if that is what you're here for, next week we've got some property stuff coming up. But here we are this week, and I'm going to be talking about something, a time of life that I went through a few years ago now. So it's not something that just happened. It's a few years ago now, December 2014. And yeah, for some reason I just felt really led to share this story. So it's a bit of a story time today. Yeah, I felt really led to share the story. I can't really articulate any other reason than I just felt led to share it. So I did. I put my property series on hold, and here I am talking about my miscarriage. So yeah, I'm gonna try and just keep it moving, not talk too long. But yeah, so one thing that did come to mind when I thought, or when this topic came to me, or this subject, was that I thought, oh, I know that there's like an awareness day. I think it's a day. I don't even think it has a week or a month. I stand corrected if I'm wrong though. But yeah, I know that there's a baby or infant loss, pregnancy loss awareness day. I think it's in October. I think it's a day actually, yeah, because I think it's October the 15th. And women lose babies every day of the year. Like, I think it's great that we have a day where it's allowed to not be a taboo, but the fact is that it's something that women go through. Like, you'd be surprised how many women in your circle have had miscarriages, but you have no idea. And it's not that we should go around screaming it from the rooftops, unless that's what you want to do. But I think that we shouldn't feel from my point, it was shame, it was embarrassment, it was feeling like a failure. Those were the reasons why I kept it quiet, why I didn't really tell anybody until much later. And those are not reasons why we should do anything. If the reasons you're doing something is because you're scared, or because you feel embarrassed, or you feel ashamed, or you feel any sort of negative driving force, then if that's the reason why you're doing something, then we need to really restructure, rethink, and make different choices. It's all of our right to keep our lives private. I'm not saying everyone jump on YouTube and tell your story, but just like to your circle, your closer circle, there were people who are very close to me who had no idea that I was pregnant or had a miscarriage. And so I hope I've told them. I have to think about that actually. If you're finding out through this video, I'm sorry. Yeah, I really need to think about that. Sorry. So anyway, yeah, so that's one thing that came to me, that this happens all throughout the year, every day. People are losing their children, unfortunately, and their pregnancies. Like, they're not even getting to meet their children before they're losing them. So I just wanted to bring some awareness to that today, whatever the date is that you're watching this video. And if you're watching this video because it's something that you've gone through, then one, I'm so sorry, but two, you get through it. You will get through this. You'll be stronger for it, and when the time comes that you are blessed to have your children, the child you've lost doesn't just disappear, because that was a fear of mine, that baby is just no longer. Elsa, my daughter, she's 2 now and everything's a mobile, so she was on the phone, and when I asked her who she was talking to, she said her sister, and there's no sister, guys. But it surprised me how quickly my mind went to, I wonder if, or like, imagine if, you know, she's having some sort of spiritual conversation with the child that I lost. Imagine, so does that mean that she was a girl? Like, it was just, that baby, although I never got to meet her or him, like, that baby, that experience has shaped and moulded who I am today. And so, yeah, that's that. So yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a story time. So, rewind to December 2014. I found out I was pregnant. I wasn't trying to get pregnant. It was a complete surprise. In fact, the first thing that I did after telling my partner at the time, I made a doctor's appointment because I just needed, I remember taking my friend because I wanted her to be there so that she could hear, and that when I retake a test, that she could tell me, yeah, like, it's not a dream, you actually are pregnant. But the doctor was just like, okay, you did a test, it was positive, you're pregnant, okay, I'll refer you to your local hospital. I was like, no, you don't understand, like, you need to confirm. She's like, no, it's fine. Right, okay. So it was a shock, to say the least. And I remember, so I'm a Christian and I'm not married, I wasn't married at the time, so it was a real, oh my gosh, what's my mum gonna say? Like, oh, this is not great. You know, every child's a blessing, but it was like a speed bump to getting to the blessing bit. It was like, okay, let's just get over this hurdle. My mum and I are very close, so I think I told her very soon. Yeah, we were relieving this the other day, like, because I've forgotten how I told her. So when I was trying to remember yesterday or the day before, it was funny to look back. At the time it wasn't funny, but it was funny to look back. But I told her, so then my mum was sort of like on board. Eventually I had to leave her for a bit. I think I left her for a day, and then I came back with a bottle of wine for her, obviously, because I was pregnant, couldn't drink. So yeah, my mum found out, or I told my mum, that's all fine, partner's happy, that's great, everyone's good. And then we went, so it's just like uneventful, like my boobs were hurting, my taste was gone crazy, like I could just taste the tiniest bit of like anything, like if there was a tiny bit of garlic in the food, I'd be able to taste it. Like, that was crazy. I was like 2 days pregnant and these symptoms were really quite pronounced. It was really crazy at the time. And then what happened? My partner and I, we went to Bicester, the place in Oxford. I think it's in Oxford, the shopping place. So we went there for the weekend, or a couple of nights, I can't remember. And I remember I got to the hotel and I went to the this might be a bit TMI, sorry guys, but you know, from the title it is what it is. I went to the toilet and I saw that there was some blood there. My mum was a midwife, sorry. So I just called her straight away. I was like, Mum, I'm bleeding. Yeah, what should I do? Do I need to go to the hospital? What do I do? It wasn't like gushing blood. It was just I had to wipe and there was blood there. And I remember she kept saying, like, Bianca, do you know, if you've done anything, if you've been sexually active, it's normal. Like, it's not normal, but, you know, it's a common side effect if you've been sexually active. I was like, Mum, like, I'm not saying this because you're my mum, but I genuinely, we haven't done anything. Like, this is just happening of its own accord. And so, sorry, I'm getting hot. So yeah, that started, I can't remember what day this was, but that started. And then like the next day we actually went shopping, and I remember just walking around being really tired. I was walking around all day, and then got back. I'm still bleeding at this point. Like I've had to go and buy pads. Like it's just okay. Deep down I'm really worried, but I knew like there were two things. Well, the main thing I knew was that if I am having a miscarriage, which I really hope I'm not, but if I am, going to the hospital at this stage, they can't do anything. Because I think I was like 6 or 7 weeks pregnant. I think I might have been 6 weeks pregnant then, and then by the time I had the miscarriage, I was just gone 7 weeks. So yeah, that was that. We were shopping, so then we decided to come home. Came home, then I'm still bleeding, but I'm bleeding on and off, and then sometimes it's like brown, sometimes it's red. Like it's not consistent, and it's not picking up on in flow. It wasn't. So it was just a bit odd. Then I remember the night before, like that evening before I actually had the miscarriage, it had stopped. Like the bleeding had just stopped. And I remember my partner at the time was flying out to go abroad. He was going to be away for 3 weeks. So it was just really, it felt really good that the bleeding had stopped. And yeah, like I thought, okay, like this is all right. Because it was I think I'd set the date in my head, like, okay, if I'm still bleeding at this point, I'm going to go to the hospital. So yeah, the bleeding had stopped, partner flies out, and it's all good. Go to sleep so that I can get up and go to work the next morning. So this is the 23rd of December. Yeah, I think it was the 23rd of December this was now. Sorry, I couldn't remember. Yeah, 23rd of December. And I got up the next morning. I think I woke up before my alarm. I slept really well. I woke up before my alarm, and I just felt like I needed to wee. I just like, oh my gosh, my bladder's so full. Like, oh my gosh, I need to wee. And looking back on it now, I couldn't stand up straight. So I remember, like, my mum was at hers, so I was home alone. My mum's at hers, partner's abroad. I'm home alone. I couldn't stand up straight. Like, I remember, like, I was just crouched over going to the toilet. I didn't realise I was in pain at the time. It just felt like there's this massive cramp in my stomach and I need to wee. So I went to the toilet, and as I sat down on the toilet, I just heard blop, and I didn't do a poo. So I just thought, oh my gosh, what's that? Oh, I'm getting a bit emotional. So I stood up and I looked in the toilet, and there was just like this red ball, like, I'm guessing it was the baby. This sack was in the toilet, and I remember thinking, like, I think I just said, there's my baby. I called my mum. I went and called my mum straight away. It was the walk back to my room to get the phone that I realised I was in pain. Like, I realised that, oh, like, I still can't stand up straight. And then sorry guys. Yeah, so I called my mum. My mum lived about half an hour away at the time. I think she got it felt no longer than 15 minutes. I don't know what that woman did. I think I just remember saying, it's happening. I think that's what I called her and said, it is happening. And she's like, okay, I'm coming. Obviously my partner's on the plane at this point, so I can't even call him. So yeah, my mum came and we went to the hospital, and then we had to go to the early pregnancy unit because we went to St Thomas's and they don't have an A&E. So, well, I don't know. We just ended up having to go to the early pregnancy unit at Tommy's. So, yeah, we went, and then I remember they just like, they take all your details, and then the woman said something, like, the woman was like, okay, we're going to give you some pain relief, Go to the toilet, like check your pad, and we're going to book you in for a scan just so that we can see what's happening, because you know there may, I can't remember her exact words, but she said something that just gave me hope, that although at this point look, I was bleeding, like if you have heavy periods times it by like 5, if you have light periods times it by 5,000. Like I was bleeding a lot, and I can't remember what it was she said, but it just gave me hope that okay, maybe this isn't a miscarriage, maybe I've just got to go on bed rest and you know everything's going to be okay. But no, I had a scan. It was really uncomfortable. It was like the transvaginal ones, really uncomfortable, and then she just confirmed that yeah, it looks as though I was pregnant. I'm not anymore. I think, I can't remember, but she said she just confirmed that I'd had a miscarriage. I just remember bursting out into tears because obviously when the nurse was prepping me, or the midwife, sorry, I clung onto some form of hope from somewhere, and then I was just heartbroken. I was just, in like the days and weeks unfolding, I think I had to wait a day to get hold of my partner, and so it was horrible. It's just really, it's like you wouldn't wish that experience on your worst enemy, because it's just horrible. I remember thinking that, oh my gosh, like from I started bleeding I should have just stayed in bed. I should have just put myself on bed rest. I shouldn't have gone shopping. I shouldn't have, we should have just came straight home. I should have, oh my gosh, I had so many I should haves. I just felt like this was like karma, bad karma, because I was so surprised and unsure about how I felt about the pregnancy in the beginning. This is just payback because I wasn't jumping for joy from the get-go. I had so many thoughts going around in my head that I failed. It just, so many thoughts. And if you can relate to any of those thoughts, I just want to tell you the conclusion that I came to was that they're lies. They're not the truth. You haven't failed. You are not a failure. You haven't you have not done anything. I think the statistics are that 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage, and a miscarriage is losing your baby before 24 weeks, and that's what miscarriage is. And I think about 80% of those happen before the 12-week, before the 12-week period as well. And it's really common. It's really, really common. And not talking really let those lies circulate in my head. It really let me continue to believe that I had done this. That because I wasn't as happy as most people are when they find out that I'd brought this on myself. Because I wasn't married, I'd brought this on myself. No, nothing happens before its time, and I truly believe that nothing happens without God's say so. So the fact that something is happening in my life, in your life, in our lives, it's been given the go-ahead. And so that means it's going to work out for my good. That experience made me stronger. It took a while. It was a storm to ride out. But talking really, really, really helped. Not necessarily, like, just having someone there that I could talk to. For me, it was my mum. She was a star. Like, it was just so important to be able, sometimes I snapped, sorry mum, but so important to just have that person there that you can talk to, that you can talk about, like, you were pregnant, I bought tickets to go to the baby show, like I was all in at this point, and then that, I felt robbed, like it had all gone, like my baby's gone, I'm not gonna be able to, like in my family there are a few other cousins who were pregnant around the same time. So in my head I was like, I'm going to always have my child would be like that. or oh my gosh, my daughter would be doing that now, or I would always have a depiction of what could have been for me. That was hard, but I prayed through it, I talked through it, and hugged through it as well. I think I ate ice cream through it as well. Yeah, because I remember like a week later, they tell you to take another pregnancy test just to confirm that, you know, you're not pregnant anymore. So obviously now that one's telling me in big old letters, not pregnant. I think I just went and ate a tub of Haagen-Dazs salted caramel ice cream. The whole tub in one sitting. Yeah. But you do, it's grief. Like, allow yourself to grieve. It's, you have lost something. So there are 5 stages of grief, like that still applies when you've lost a person that you've never met but you've dreamt about, you've imagined holding, you've imagined that first time you're going to see them. So allow yourself to grieve. Don't blame yourself. Going down the going down the rabbit hole of what if leads to nowhere good. What if doesn't matter, because what happened, and that we can't go back in time and change things. So, okay, I'm going to stop talking now. But if this situation is something that you found yourself in, or you know someone who's going through it, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's actually not your fault. And that is what I want you to take from this, that it's not your fault. Okay, I'm going now. Bye guys.